hate this channel.
If we beat them, I think that's us safe, because that would put over 40 points. Bournemouth are one of them teams that need to catch with to get, like, for us to go down. So I think a win at the Vitality would be massive for us. But let's get into it. For me, Newcastle have got to change it up from the game against Man City. That absolute abject surrender, as I seen in the Chronicle, is a major headline. I think it's more correct, because that first half was one of the worst I've seen this season. Just kind of give the semi-final to Man City all the hope, all the expectation of maybe this the year that would finally, get into a final or whatnot. But no, we'll just abjectly give them. I know Man City are a fantastic side and whatnot, but you help them along the way by playing like that. But on to Bournemouth, we need to change it. Back to 4-2-3-1. Let's get back to basics. Get back to playing some decent football that we did against Sheffield United, and in little bits against Aston Villa, but we were fairly poor there because players looked tired after 60 minutes. A full rotation is needed. Sam from our channel on the Score on the Players really hit the nail on the head. The squad management since we came back has been shocking. In fact, it's been shocking all season since Bruce took over, and that's one of the main critiques we've had of him on this channel. That he just doesn't rotate enough. Like earlier in the season, Maximin came back from injury after he picked up a knock against Spurs, and then he started again as soon as he wasn't fit, and he looked like he was unfit, and he looked like he was still hobbling around, and then he got injured, and then he had loads of problems with his hamstrings, and that's just one example. And then playing the same team 2 games in a row from the restart, it just isn't good. Full rotations needed. Bruce has talked about it in his press conference earlier today. For me, I think both Longstaffs need to be involved. Shelvey needs to be back involved if he's fully fit. I think Lazaro needs that opportunity in the Premier League now to play further forward. Give him that chance, give him the ball, and I think he'll cause problems. He did that against West Brom in the Cup. So I really think a team like Bournemouth with a left back like Charlie Daniels, I think there's a chance to exploit them, really getting behind him. Local Geordie lad as well, isn't he, Charlie Daniels? But with the way Bournemouth are set up, I think this is the type of game for Andy Carroll. I know we said it for Man City and it didn't work out too much, but as it's proven the last couple of times we've went up against that Nathan Ake, physically he's not there. He's great with the ball, but I think he's a very suspect defender, and we need to get after him. If you put Andy Carroll on him, he's going to win headers, he's going to cause problems, whereas against Man City he was kind of having to hold the ball for 25 seconds before someone came into the game. Whereas I think this is more his type of game. Get the ball in and around him and try something like that. Whereas Joelinton, what do you do with him for a rotation? Do you put him out on the left like you finished the game against Man City, or do you persist with someone else? For me, I think Joelinton needs to be pushed out wide and see what he can do on the left against a team like Bournemouth. I really do. But I think as long as we have Shelvey or Matty or someone like that in the midfield that can play a pass, I think we'll be okay in that department. But the players to watch out for from a Bournemouth perspective, as we know, Callum Wilson is a deadly striker. He scored a few goals this season, and he's been linked with Chelsea in the January window as well for 60 million. So he's someone that we need to really watch out for, because he's a fantastic player. If you give him half a chance, he'll take it. Another one as well, David Brooks, Welsh international, really good player. I've known about this lad since he was on the books at Sheffield United, and Bournemouth bought him last season. But he's a fantastic player, good little playmaker, can get in between the channels, and that's one thing Man City really exploited with us. They got in behind the midfield so easily, and it just give their passing players the ability to play it out wide and get in behind us. So we need to really mark him and keep an eye on him, because if we don't, Bournemouth are going to have free reign, especially with the quick wingers like Joshua King getting in behind, like Ryan Fraser if he plays. Good little players will get in behind if we're not careful. But in terms of a prediction, I'm not usually one for predictions, but if Newcastle can start well and not, if Newcastle can start well and get an early goal, I think that will really get into the head of Bournemouth, because I think confidence-wise they're knackered at the minute. They concede a goal and they just fall apart. I've watched them a couple of times since the restart. don't think much of them, to be honest. I think Crystal Palace the other day really give them a footballing lesson. They couldn't get anywhere near the goal, to be honest. And against a solid unit, which is what we're capable of. We're capable of being compact and defensive. I think we can really hurt them by hitting them on the counter attack. And if Alan Saint-Maximin is starting or if he's off the bench or whatever it may be, he's a key man to sort this Bournemouth team out. Like, he really showed that in the reverse fixture, where there's a clip of him running through like 5 or 6 of them. But I really think we can get the double over these. This is a really good opportunity to confirm Premier League status for next season. And 40 points, which when Bruce took over, to be fair, as frustrating as he's been at some points during the season, if he had offered us mid-table, quarter final, the FA Cup, I would have probably took it from him. And it leaves we in the best state to focus on this takeover. I know it's dragging on to its 13th week and all that, but fingers crossed, if we can get that takeover done, then we can all look forward to next season and things like that. But I think Bruce has done an okay job this season. As frustrating as it's been at times, the Man City defeat, the Norwich defeat at the start of the season, a couple of really bad games in between. But yeah, I suppose it's just one of them. You would have took it at the start of the season. I don't care who you are, but I get your starting 11 in the comments below. Let us know your predictions as well, because it's one we fancy, but it's usually the case when we fancy to beat teams, we never usually do. But when we're not expecting to do it, we usually come up trumps and get the win. But let us know your comment. Let us know in the comments below what you think predictions wise in terms of the lineup and the final score as well. But on the channel after the game, we'll have the reaction, get you all on. We'll have scoring the players as well with me, Sam and Johnny. I think it was last time. I think it might be that again. I'm not sure. And the final word as well with Lee. Lee always does a good job with that one. But I've been Kyle. Check out NFTV Extra as well for the quick thoughts. And if you can, leave a subscribe, leave a like and all that. And I'll catch you all in a bit, and let's get 3 points on Wednesday night. Come on.